All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, who's shushing? You're a dad, Andrew. Oh man, you'd be a great teacher, actually. Hey, man, we're excited. Tonight we have, like we've mentioned earlier, we're carrying on with our relationship series. And we're super pumped tonight for the topic to be on singleness. Yeah, come on. Come on. Now, let's do the hand thing. Are there any single people out there? Yeah, we don't single shame. If you're single, own it. Let's go. So we're just so excited for what's going to be shared tonight. And so leading our amazing panel is Jared Victor Reason. And so I'm going to invite him up, and I know he'll do an incredible job just leading the time. And I'll let him introduce the speakers. Are we ready, guys? Let's all stand to our feet, and let's clap for these guys. They come up. Guy.
All right. How are we doing tonight? Tell the person next to you they are looking beautiful tonight. Beautiful. I'm just going to get settled here. And, you know, they say beauty is like a feminine term, but, like, men can be beautiful too. I love when I meet a beautiful man. I'm like, you are a beautiful man. It's very good. Pardon me? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love that. Is that my mum? No. All right. Well, this is like an interrogation. Maybe we should like turn that away. Anyway, my name is Jared. It's good to be here tonight. How are you guys feeling? We feeling good? I feel like, can I be real for a sec? Also, welcome to the live stream. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I feel like, you know, I've been asked to do to facilitate this discussion, the singleness panel. And I felt the pressure, man. I'm like, single people are going to like shoot the messenger. They're going to be like, this guy's engaged to be married. What the heck does he know? Stuff him. And but I'm just really excited. I feel like what God wants to do tonight, just to bring it back, is that we're talking about singleness tonight. I feel like God really wants to bring some healing where there's some hurt. And I also feel like, man, it would be so good if we could all walk out of this room better for it, encouraged, more confident, more secure in who we are, more secure in who God's called us to be. And that sounds like a pretty good result to me. Are we all on the same page? So let's just agree that we're all in this together. I'm super aware that some of us are single and others are in a committed relationship. We've all got different experiences. There's all different reasons why people are single. There's no one like blanket, you know, singleness blanket that we just put on people and go, they're single because of this or because of this. And we just want every person here to feel celebrated. We want you to feel seen. We want you to feel significant, and we want you to feel celebrated. So tonight's going to be a good night. Before we invite our amazing panelists up to speak, a couple things. Can we throw that slide up? This is an interactive Q&A. So if you go pull out your smartphones, you have permission to do that. Go to slido.com and simply put in the room code, which will appear behind me, and you can ask an anonymous question. Okay? Now, Q&As are interesting because sometimes you don't ask the question that you want to ask because it's kind of awkward. I want to encourage you, you can ask anything. Like nothing is off limits here. This is a safe place. And we, you know, our panelists and myself included, no pressure, are going to do the best we can to really add value and help you guys. Is that okay? Not to say that we have the answers, but we just really are here to serve you guys. So that's cool. One more thing I wanted to do before we start really is to define singleness. And before I talk about that, I understand that this is a sensitive topic. And so we really just want to meet you where you're at. And we don't want to make light of this. I know in church, being a single person in church for a long time, there is usually a lot of shame or frustration or disappointment that goes along with that. And so we don't want anyone to feel shame. And we don't want anyone here to feel, you know, inferior or less than. We want you to feel celebrated. So is that cool? So we're coming at this from that angle. Few things. Defining singleness. Number one, this is the singleness isn't and is, okay? So this is just my opinion. Feel free to throw it out, whatever you want to do. But sometimes if we can define what something isn't, it can help us see what it really is, okay? First thing I would say is that singleness isn't loneliness. Singleness isn't loneliness. You know, I think a lot of time in culture, we've just romanticized this whole thing and essentially idolized being in a relationship as a status symbol. It's so easy to think because someone's single that they are alone or they feel terrible about themselves, or, you know, you have to feel lonely in that season. Oh, praise Jesus. You don't have to feel alone ever. In fact, I would go so far to say that it is never God's will for you to feel alone. He died on the cross. He came and lived in us so that so our loneliness could be cured. So the first thing that singleness isn't loneliness. We don't have to do life alone because we are single. We don't have to feel alienated or ostracized. The second thing is that singleness isn't a death sentence. It's not a death sentence. Just let that sink in. So many people think, and this has been my experience, I'm going to speak from experience now, through singleness or through a season of singleness, we can often see singleness like the coronavirus. It's like, get away from me. Like, I'm going to get out of here as soon as possible, you know. And it's not a death sentence. I truly believe, as we're going to learn very shortly, that singleness is a unique and powerful season if you choose it to be. Thirdly, oh, this is too good. I've wrote thirdly, but it's like blank. It just says singleness isn't, so I'm just going to move on. Singleness is. All right? Singleness isn't, singleness is. Singleness is a season to practice taking full personal responsibility. It doesn't matter whether you're single or married or divorced or in a relationship or whatever status you are. I don't believe as Christians we're ever excused or ever in a season where it's okay for us not to take personal responsibility. We're never going to outgrow personal responsibility. So we might as well start yesterday. That was the best time to start. The next best time is today. Is that cool? And secondly, singleness is something to be celebrated, not just tolerated. Something to be celebrated and not just tolerated. Thirdly, singleness is highly underrated. It's highly underrated. It really is. Like if you ask any married person or anyone in a committed relationship, just in terms of that other perspective, often I feel like single people, they put this thing on a pedestal and it's like, if only I could just have this, or if only I could be here, if only I could be at this desired destination. But I feel like we're so quick to skim through this season that we actually just don't stop to really be grateful for the season that we're in. We compare our season to maybe someone else's, or we compare our story to someone else's story. Let's stop that. I really believe that the only person we should be comparing ourselves to is who we were yesterday. Is that cool? So that's going to kind of, I guess, create the framework for tonight of defining a bit about what we're going to be talking about. But I would love if we could really just honor these people as they come. These are people in different scenarios, different stories, different situations. And really it's our prayer that we're just going to help you guys, and that you're going to get some value out of this. So why don't we welcome our panelists as they come to the stage. Let's welcome Laura Faithful. Let's welcome Johanna Stringer. Let's welcome Caroline. Let us welcome Johnny Hookendijk. And let's welcome Marcus Burden to the stage. We're making room. Man, I love sitting with other people on stage. It's way better. Life is better together. So great. Cool. Is that light okay for you guys? Is that a bit distracting, or
See the light.
you see the light? It's good. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, let's just start the conversation. Are we okay with this? We good? All right. Well, why don't you start by introducing yourself and perhaps just say your name and your relationship status, and then we'll just kind of unpack that as we go.
Okay, sure. I'm Laura. I am single. That's it.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Johanna. I'm not single, I'm married. I was single for a very, very long time as I was walking with God, so they thought it was good for me to be on this panel.
Yeah.
How long is long?
10 years.
Man, it's awesome. Marcus?
Hi, my name is Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
Yeah, and I too am single.
Got it. I'm Johnny Hookendike, and I am currently single.
He's leveraging this panel, you know. He's leveraging this.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Well, my name is Caroline, and please, guys, I apologize for my English. I have to say, I'm from Brazil.
We love Brazil.
Yeah.
Don't apologize. That's amazing.
And I'm single.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So I hope you guys are writing some questions as we speak. I'm going to ask a few kind of like foundational, generic questions, and then we'll get into what you guys want to hear about. Cool. So first question. Feel free to just jump in on this. Let's just warm into this, okay? It's going to be good. First question. Christian dating apps. Yes or no?
I personally have not ever used it. Yeah.
Okay, or
All
non-Christian
Christian
date.
right.
Let's just
All
throw it
dating
all.
apps.
Dating apps, yes or no?
No.
Including Tinder.
I'm no, but that's not like a. I don't think. Yeah, I think everyone can if they want to, but I don't want to.
I personally
Alright.
haven't used them before, but I think that they're a really valuable tool in terms of interacting with people that you might not normally get to know. Like I think if you're, I guess it's just a modern way of, you know, back in the day you would have quite often married someone that lived in your neighbourhood, and that was, you went to the local bars there and you met people there, or you got set up by your family, and just in this day and age it's just another way of meeting people.
That's cool. All right, let's move on. What's your experience been like being single in the church or in a church setting? Yeah.
So during those 10 years, I was currently being in leadership in churches. And as soon as someone found out that you were single, they're like, I will pray for you.
It's one of those patronizing prayers, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it was really hard because almost they made it into being in leadership or any form of thing, servanthood. Like, you were more fulfilled when you were married. And that was kind of like the next goal you needed to reach before you can maybe do more ministry and things like that. And I found it really, really difficult in that period. But it was, yeah. But yeah.
Sure.
Well, I believe that it has been kind of a struggle to me, because as a new Christian and single and adult, I'm now a young adult, I'm 39, and being at church sometimes feels like I don't have a place. But how Janelle has said, many times we have to remember we can fit in. So to me, it's a struggle sometimes to be single, and that's why we are thinking to have a single adults in group at church, to make people know each other and help each other. But it's a journey. So I'm growing in faith, being single at church, and learning to be single as a Christian and at church.
That's amazing.
Can I just add
Yeah.
into that? Also, remember, if you're single, Paul was single. Like, you can do so much that you can't do when you, if you're married or in a committed relationship. Yeah, it's not bad to be single. It's actually it's an amazing thing to be, because you can go, as I did, to almost every continent in the world, because I was not in a relationship. I went where God led me to go, and sometimes when you're in a relationship, yeah.
That's really cool. Really cool. Okay, next question. Just kind of following on from that. Has marriage been idolized in culture?
I personally have definitely made marriage an idol before, and I think for a lot of us as young women, that's quite common as well. And I think a lot of the time we think that's when our life will start, or that's like a starting point, or sometimes that's a finishing point. And it's actually just a stop along the journey. And quite often the grass is greener where you water it. If you're looking ahead and your focus is on that next season, the grass is going to be greener there, and the grass beneath your feet is going to die. You need to water the grass beneath your feet, and cultivate the season that you're in. But so often we are so looking at the next thing, and you're never going to be fulfilled in that way, because then when you get married, it's going to be like, when I have kids, that's when it's going to be that. When I become a grandparent, that's when it's going to be it. And it's never going to be satisfying if you're always looking to the next thing. It's about living in that moment and just really cultivating the season that you're in. And it's such a blessing.
Come on. By the way, if you hear something tonight that you like, that just makes you go, oh, like, just say that, or just snaps or claps or whatever you need to do. Just, oh. That's great. Did anyone else want to chime in there? Or?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for just surrender and journeying the hard stuff with God, because the things that are really close to our heart, if we hold on to them too tightly, we strangle them, There's the real element of we need to surrender and let it happen His way, because He knows better than us, He has our heart, as a high priority to Him. So surrender's important.
That's a mic drop right there. If you hold something too tightly, you'll strangle it. That is amazing. That's deep. Okay, now next question. In your mind, what is the biggest positive aspect to being single?
Money. Yeah. I can tithe more.
Oh, you man of God, you. And Warzone.
Yeah, I'll properly answer it. No, you can answer it. Okay.
Nah, you go.
I think time's a big one. You can. I feel like you can do more. I feel like I don't know. Time. Money.
Freedom.
Yeah, I guess your responsibility is less dependent on another person. You're kind of more. You get to make choices without having to think of the other half. Which is, it's gonna be new when it happens, but at the moment, I'm loving the most, making the most of it. So,
It's cool.
You can be selfish. You can think about only yourself and what you want, and what do you want to eat, and when do you want to get up, and what do you want to do, in the evening, and if you want to hang out with friends and all this kind of stuff. When you're in a relationship, you have to kind of like, I don't really know the English word, but you have to negotiate, and you sometimes need to sacrifice what you want to do because they might not want to do that. Compromise. That's good.
And what can God do with that time and with that ability to just jump at an opportunity that He gives you? Like, that's one of the coolest things, is that God's going to use those things. Like, He has purposed this season for a reason, and there is blessings and challenges in every season, but harness the blessings of the season, because quite often we focus on the blessings of the next season and the challenges of the season that we're in. But like these blessings of singleness, this time and this ability to just jump at any opportunity, what is God going to do with that?
She's on fire. This panel is on fire tonight. All right. Okay, this is a good one. How do you hold on to hope when everything seems hopeless? Good answer.
Lonely comes, come on. I have Jesus worship song and, starts to pray. God, it's not the time yet for the guy. When it comes, I know, the time for myself and just hold his hand. Yeah. Jesus with me and my hope is on him.
Well, so 8 years ago, God gave me a dream about my husband. And I got that dream and I was like, oh yeah, sweet, when he's going to show up. And then I got another dream about my husband. And then another dream about my husband. And another dream about my husband. And he never showed up. And I went to all over the world, not to find my husband, but kind of, I felt, God, you gave me this promise. What's going on? And then it came to this place 3 years ago. I had to say, God, I don't want to have any more dreams because I don't have the place to dare to hope. Because my heart can't handle it. Because it's this carrot that is coming and you feel like it's going to come, but it's just so hard. And it's a very hard season to be in, and hold on to that hope when you feel like there is no hope. But the thing is that God knows. God knows the perfect timing. God knows exactly who is made for you and who is created perfect for you. And God knows that. And he will hold out. It feels like sometimes he will hold out on you. But it's because it's not never. It's maybe not yet. So she said it so perfectly. God, hold on to God because there is hope, even though it doesn't feel like there is hope.
I just want to speak some truth to some lies that people feel in that in this situation as well, and that's that God hasn't overlooked you, God hasn't forgotten you. Just because it's not when you expected this to happen, or when you thought you'd be married by this point, you thought you'd met someone by this point. God doesn't write the same love story twice. I can't compare my story to Johanna's. I can't compare my story to Catherine and Gideon's, because that's not my story. And God is the author of love, and we need to get to know the author of love during this season. And He is, He's never forgotten you. He's never overlooked you. You are in the palm of His hand, and He is thinking of you constantly. So don't listen to that lie that the enemy is trying to speak into you, of that, with these unmet expectations, that God's going to just totally blow out your expectations. So really grieve those things, but know that you're not forgotten in this season.
Wow. That's great. It's amazing. Follow on from that. So we're kind of talking about, I was just reminded of that verse, it says in Proverbs, I think it's Proverbs, that God makes everything beautiful in its time. And do I want to share this? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. This is kind of a separate example from like a relationship thing, but we're kind of going through a process, me and Jess, of looking at buying a house. And, we found this house that we just freaking loved, you know what I mean? And we've kind of talked about this. And, we loved it. We're like, we have to have this. And I guess the parallel to that, like, I've been in that personal space of like, okay, she's the one, or like, she's the one, or like, this is the right time. Like, I'm ready, you know what I mean? And I've just been reminded, even through this process of like looking at a house, it's quite similar to a relationship. You go through this dating phase with a real estate agent. You're like kind of doing their dance. Like, are we good, bro? Like, well, this could work. Like, I can see myself in this situation. And I was just reminded that the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. It could be the right thing at the wrong time, but it's still the wrong thing. And I love what you've shared there, because I think, as you know, even through my journey of singleness, it can feel like we're just trying to push this thing through. It's like, let's just get through this singleness season. Let's just get out, into greener pastures. But as we've learned, the grass is greener where you're investing into it. And, timing is everything, I believe, when it comes to this stuff. And so we're talking about this season. This is kind of following on to my next question. Like, in terms of that timing and that season, how do we, in that season of singleness, how do we remain secure in ourselves constantly, like day to day? We all get those kind of drifting thoughts, or those kind of feelings of misplaced hope or disappointment. How do we remain single through that time?
I think sometimes we need to put God back on the throne. Sorry.
It's good.
And take other things off, take people off the throne, and just come back to God and trusting in Him, and just that idea of that He hasn't overlooked us, that He hasn't forgotten about us, and trusting that He's a good God that knows, that has promised to provide for every need, and He knows us better than we know ourselves, so He knows what we need more than we know, and so just trusting that, like, if that's the case, then His timing is going to be so much better than what I could sort of ordain for myself.
I'm going to bring it back to surrender again. Daily surrender. Reminded of how it's no longer I who lives, but Christ in me. Our lives are purchased by Jesus, and He cares so tenderly for everything that we hold dear. So there's an element of considering ourselves dead to what we used to hold on to for security, to what we used to hold on to for hope. We've got to consider ourselves dead daily, and we've got to lay them down. And it's out of that we find freedom, and like I said earlier, relinquish our grip on it. And then finally Jesus can do something about it.
Bro, thank you for sharing that. If you guys didn't know, Marcus, we only asked Marcus to be on this panel before the service. So what I love about this is just coming straight from your heart, man. This is you, bro. And it's amazing, man. So did you want to add to that?
Yeah, also, if you're not secure in yourself before you meet someone, you're not going to get secure in yourself when you meet someone. It's a lie that two broken people make two whole people. It is a lie, and it's just like, and it doesn't make one whole person. It is two whole people make one whole relationship.
Preach.
And
Preach.
when you're single, work on yourself. Deal with your SIH or whatever.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I was just repeating.
Deal with your stuff. Deal with your stuff. Your stuff. That's really good. We're gonna segue. But that's a great word. People aren't gonna complete you. They will compliment you though. That's great. All right. We're going to move to the questions that you guys asked. Let's just get the faff out of the way. Hey, Team Johnny or Team Marcus? Oh, okay, Team Johnny or Team Marcus? I don't know how to choose between these two heartthrobs. How do I choose? I would say just take responsibility and make a decision.
Thanks, Alan.
All right. Do you know who's a single cutie who loves the Lord? Go to http://carbondating.church. Yeah, it's good. I want to know how Johnny has time for both a sculpted mind, spirit, and dang fine body. You might have to ask him that in private, unless you want to address that tonight. Did you want to address that, or we can move on?
I gotta surrender.
Surrender. Okay, that's good. All right, let's get all that out of, now that we've got all that out of the way, I want to encourage you, keep asking questions. Let's get a few more in here. If you see a question you like that resonates with you, you can actually upvote it as well, so I'll see that earlier. Okay, this is great. That was another crazy question. Who's on the panel is single and ready to mingle? I think we've already been through that. Jared, did the mustache come during singleness, or was that a later addition? It actually was like an overgrown like Movember thing that I just didn't get rid of. And then I met Jess and she actually liked it. So it's kind of just stuck around. Praise Jesus. Let's go. All right, here's a more serious one. Okay. This is perfect, following on from what you guys are just talking about. How can we address our own trauma to avoid attracting, that they've said here, unhealed people, but potentially people in codependent people?
Danny Silk said it very well. He's talking about powerful people and he's talking about powerless person. And sometimes we need to go on this journey and going from being powerless in some situation. We feel like we're being a victim, stuff happens to us and things like that. But it says a bit like powerful people require respectful relationship. And if you allow people to treat you badly, you will attract that. And sometimes you need to start treating yourself good, because and value yourself. If you don't value yourself, other people might not be able to value you because you set the bar. And you know, God says, I am the great I am. And sometimes when we think about ourselves, like as a female, we're looking at in the mirror and be like, oh, I'm just ugly, or I'm useless, and I'm an idiot. We're actually misusing God's name because we're saying I am and putting it with this negative connotation, what is not true.
That's good.
Because each and every one of you are valuable, are worthy. And if you put that on your forehead, I require respectful relationship, you're not going to attract dicks.
That's good, that's good.
That's the Swedish bluntness we've all been looking for.
I have some thoughts. What was I going to say?
We require respectful language. Thank you, Johanna. Sorry, Marcus.
There was a great phrase that Matt Lansdowne said a number of times over the weekend. I can't remember the exact phrase, but the sentiment was, oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank. That's fun. It's like anything worth having in life is on the other side of discomfort. You know, comfort is one of our big enemies here in the West, you know. It takes courage, and it takes a willingness to actually deal with pain, and vent pain, and process pain, and lean into it, essentially. And then some practical things. I guess changing your mindset around pain to being more like pain is like a doorway to encounter with Holy Spirit, because any pain that you feel, He wants to be in, He wants to heal, and He wants to journey with you. And then secondly, get a counsellor. Get someone that you can process with. It's pretty essential. Get a good counsellor.
That is some AAA advice right there. That's amazing. That's incredible.
While you're finding that, next question,
Yep.
Jared. The other thing is that quite often, a lot of the time, us as Christians, where we love people so much, we can be rescuers in relationships as well. Just speaking to that as well, I just encourage people not to date potential of, potentially this person could, like,
I just heard a
heal
click.
all their stuff.
I just heard a snap.
Yeah. when they heal all their stuff, then they'll be, you know, a great husband or a great wife. But people may never change. They may never heal from some of that stuff. So, like, don't date for the potential. Actually, date the person that they are right here and now. And that if they haven't done some of that work on themselves or done that healing, then it's that whole thing of that right person, wrong timing potentially. And so think about that for yourself as well. Like, am I a person that someone would be dating me as the potential, you know? Or do I need to do some work? Do I need to do some healing here?
Man.
And also remember that when you're dating someone, they're putting on their best behavior. Their absolute best behavior. And if that is not good, don't think that getting married will solve it. Because it won't.
That's good. That is good. Marriage is a commitment, not a cure. Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Do you or did you have a list, like a list, kind of like of the characteristics of your dream, you know, life partner or you know, husband or wife or whatever it is? Yeah, criteria of characteristics you're looking for. And do you meet any of those yourself? I think this is a good question. I think this is a great question because we've covered this, and I'll throw it to you in a second, but we've talked about this tonight. Like, be the person that your person is looking for. I'll say that again. Be the person that your person is looking for. If there is a person there, if you feel strongly, and I think that's an amazing question because it's easy to go, look, my expectations are through the flipping roof. Like, they've got to be this, they've got to be this, they've got to be this, they've got to be fit, they've got to work out, and then you spend like all day watching Netflix at home, and there's a bit of a divide there. So number one, do you have a checklist or a set of expectations? And then also, I guess, what are you doing to attract that?
Well, 7 years ago, I joined a church, and when I was baptized, my pastor at that time, he was encouraging us to understand ourselves before making a list. So who are you in Christ? What do you really like? So what do you like in another person to be? So the list is not just handsome or this, it's like personality, character. Before becoming Christian, I wouldn't put in the top of my list Christian. So the top of one is like be committed to Christ, not just come to church on Sundays, be a genuine one. So the list is more about how I see life. I love traveling. I cannot be with someone that don't like traveling. You know, you have someone that like the mountains, then the beach. So it's more details that can see your future with the person. So it's the character, the moral values, like how Christian you really are, and things like that. And it helps a lot. And he used to say, don't make a list like a huge list with so many details. You have to be honest with yourself. No one's perfect. However, in one day, in one date, in a cup of coffee with this person, you can say, he doesn't have that 5. He has 4 of them. But that one that you say, oh, he's look nice, he's a nice person, can make a huge challenge in your life in the future. So if you don't want to have kids, it's something that's in your heart, and the person dreams to have a kid, how are you going to manage that in the future? Don't wait for them to change. If you feel like you're not going to stay in Christchurch forever, you are just passing through here, and the person's his family here and say, I'm never going to leave Christchurch. Don't feel that you can change with your future. Of course, praying for God, impossible can happen. We know that. But first, before doing the list, know yourself. What do you want for yourself? Who are you in Christ? And then go for your list in a honest way with yourself and for others. And that helps a lot to know what you want for yourself, who you are, and this list.
Just challenge what you put on that list as well, because if you like there should be some non-negotiables and then some things that would be nice. Like a non-negotiable for me is like they have to love God. Something that would be nice is I enjoy sport and I would love them to share that joy with me. But that's not something that's gonna, you've got to be careful that you don't limit God in your list, you know? And so it's those non-negotiables that are like those fundamental things that you shouldn't settle on, but there's some things that it's like you've just got to leave room for God to move and leave room for God to blow your expectations out of the water. As I said before, He knows us better than we know ourselves, and He knows us now, and He knows what we're going to become in the future. We don't know what the future looks like, but He does, and so He's going to provide for those needs, not just for now, but for the future. And so, yeah, just be aware of what you put on your list.
I've got two things to say on that. First of all, I kind of have a list. I kind of don't, because a lot of the stuff on what is the list? Let me tell you. The list keeps changing because I realized that a lot of the stuff, like it was kind of half answering the other question, is that you find that you grow and you go for needs that you need met yourself, and it's just like, well, actually, I need to sort myself out there, and then that need isn't part of my list, because like the list can be very long. You can have these things, be strong enough in faith, blah blah blah, something that can make me better. It's like, well, maybe I should make myself better, and like, turning it on yourself. Another thing, a cool story was I had a friend in Australia who was in the same position as me, and he had a list. He had a list that had all the classic Christian-y stuff, and then it also had the practical of like, she needed to be a supermodel. She needs to be amazing. She needs to drive one of those cars that Kim Kardashian drives. She needs to be a PK as well, a pastor's kid. And he had a massive list that was like very.
Sounds like a
spiritual.
unicorn.
I know, right? And long story short, she walked into church one day, and it was exactly his whole list. And it is possible.
Whoa.
So it is not.
Come on, who believes in unicorns, baby? It can happen.
Yeah, so it is possible.
That's an amazing story.
I wouldn't write off having a list that is
Dude.
those details. From what
Man, whew,
from what I've experienced.
that was an emotional roller coaster. Like, that was a great story. Okay, we're going to come into kind of the last part of this panel, and I'm going to ask some questions because there's still quite a few here, and we really want to cover a broad range for you guys. And so I'm just going to ask the first person who has an answer. Short, sharp, one-liner, like to the point material. Is that cool? Cool. Yeah. Just your mic drop answers. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Off the back of that, how do I know if my standards are too high? How do I know?
Mine are.
And how do you know?
Because I'm still single. And I know from even hearing the mics hiss, I'm like, man, I'm so OCD. I'm like, my list is definitely like an OCD list. It's not like a real, But yeah. What was the question? Oh yeah, they're too high. Maybe.
Can I butt in on that?
Okay, I'll allow it. Yep.
Sorry, I know. No, it's you're allowed to have high standard because God is removing the other people, and because He has one person for you, that person that will fit that standard, and it's to protect you from the heartache of the wrong people. Because what if you would lower your standards for someone to to bring them into your life? It would just cause heartache for that person and for your person when you constantly struggle with their failures.
That's good stuff.
That was some fire. Okay. How important is appearance when looking for someone? How critical is it?
It's very critical because you need to be attracted to the person. You gotta wake up next to them every day. What if you're gonna go?
I think there's a real quick on that. Is there's a line between you can see if someone's like dressing nicely and making an effort, they actually respect themselves. There's obviously a line of putting on a show, but there's also, hey, I don't care about myself enough to dress up or even make an effort with myself. Yeah. So I think there's a balance, but yeah.
It's like making an effort but not trying too hard.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you mean?
It's who you're doing it for,
Yeah, that's great. That's good.
Yeah. Fuck, it's surrender.
Be healthy. Okay, there's a few questions here around sexuality. So I think this one kind of crystallizes what you guys are trying to say. But what do you do with your sexual desires while you're single? Like, where do you put them? What do you do with that?
I don't know how to answer this one because I've never sexually sinned ever. Ever. Nah, kidding.
Surrender.
Man, I was about to say there is an immortal among us. Wow,
you surrender.
He levitates to work. Yeah.
Everybody has desires. Acknowledge them, give them to God. That's right. Surrender. That's what I gave you the phone.
That's good. I'm just going to quickly throw this in there. I've been single for a long time. I think in terms of guys, I know girls struggle with this too. But the whole area of pornography, this is maybe something we could talk about at a later time. It's another topic. But I would just come back to the verse that says it's God that works in us to will and to work for his good pleasure. And so, give those desires to God. And I think you'll find, even practically, like guys, you should just work out. Just like get the testosterone out of your bodies, like first thing in the morning. That's just practical. Your testosterone level is like super high in the morning and then they deplete during the day. So practically something that actually really helped me, just hit a workout in the morning, man. And it's crazy that we all have sexual desires, but that it kind of dampens it, if you know what I mean. And then I would say again, just surrender that to God. Surrender that part of your life to Jesus. Be open with it. Be transparent. Have accountability. Like freedom. We all have freedom to do whatever we want. When we're single, we have freedom of time, freedom of money, all that sort of stuff. But that doesn't excuse us from accountability. Like, let's be accountable. If you're struggling with something, like, let someone else know. You know what I mean? Like, talk to someone who's been through that, who can actually just soundboard it with. And often, 9 out of 10 times, if you actually speak about it, it's crazy that it kind of just disappears. Like, the shame goes, and then it's actually quite empowering. So, that's cool.
Just real quick.
Yep.
Sexual desire is something that's of God. And it's no mistake that we do have it before marriage as well. That one of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. So there's something that God's doing in that. And so...
It's great. I'm just going to cut you off. We're going to keep going. I'm sorry. There's so many questions here. I'm sorry. We'll keep going. Okay. A few more minutes. Is this good, guys? A few more questions? Then we'll wrap this up. All right. Cool. Okay. Thoughts on, we have this like romantic idea of like finding the one, and it's like our heart is like a puzzle piece, and then there's another puzzle piece living somewhere in the world. What do you guys think about that? Do you think there is the one, or do you think there's a few? Or do you think we have a soulmate, one person, or do you think there's options there?
I think there can be a lot of potentials, and God is outside of time, and God is challenging every person to step up and to rise up into who their potential, who they're meant to be. But if that person is not rising up when you are in that season, then he's not the one or she's not the one. It's like the one is when you both in the same season at the same time. That is the one. And So if you maybe felt when you were younger and stuff, oh, I met the one, and we didn't get on, we broke up or anything, it's not the end, because there will be a season when both of you will be in that season of being challenged to raise up, and both of you guys will raise up, and that's when the one is created.
I think there's definitely people who are not for us, but I think there's people that are for us as well. Like, I think that there's, like, God will give red lights for people that are not for us in this season, but I think that there is, like, it's about finding people that we can walk with. And I think if you look at the purpose of marriage, I believe it's like, you know, in heaven we're not married, so our eternal relationship is with God. So if that's the case, then every season in our life is to be able to put us in closer relationship with our eternal one. So in that case, then the purpose of marriage is to pull you closer to God. So there's many people that are going to bring you, like, that could bring you closer to God. There's not going to be just one person that's going to put you in greater relationship with God. So you just need to be looking for, and God will give you red lights if they're not the people that are going to put you closer to God. So, yeah.
Whew, that's fire. That's great. All right, we're going to go for 2 more questions, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right. Second to last question, the penultimate question. Here we go. Okay. It's good. These are some great questions. Thank you for engaging with us tonight. There's a few. This is a tough one. Okay. I just want to make sure we're covering every kind of theme here. It's good. Yeah, you guys get comfortable. It's good. Okay. Oh, I really want to ask that one. Shall I? Okay. Oh, that's such an interesting question. I am gonna acknowledge that. How do females not romanticize their relationship with Jesus? Did you want to give a quick? How do females not romanticize their relationship with Jesus? Yes. Yeah, like marrying Jesus, or Jesus is my boyfriend kind of thing.
I think God does romanticize us. I think, like, I see a
Okay.
sunset every night, and I think, like, God is painting the sky for me to, like.
Oh,
you know,
that's
like,
beautiful. Come on.
I think that's something that's really settled me in my singleness, is the way that God has been romanticizing me. Like, so
Man,
I think the opposite of that question.
that is cool. I love that. That's amazing. All right. What are some habits the panel have had in place for maintaining healthy identity in the season of singleness? Let's get practical.
People come together. No, good song. People. I think
Yeah.
people, healthy people, people that are on a journey as well. So they're not just speaking from what if, but just people that have maybe gone through it versus going through it versus maybe from the outside as well. I think God has created other people for a reason, and so He's going to use them.
That's good. That's cool. Unanimous. We're in agreement. Surrender.
Surrender.
I love it. I'm sensing a theme. I'm sensing a pattern here. That's good. Okay.
Can I just quickly share? I forgot.
Yes, you can.
I forgot when I said about the romanticized thing that I actually had a revelation about this just a couple of nights ago, about God's chivalry, of that He opens doors for you. I just feel like that's just a really cool thing, that, like, God opens doors for us. And I just had this revelation a couple of days ago, and I just think that's just a real thing of that romanticized thing. I just want to share that.
And also, Jesus doesn't just, like, date females. Like, He romanticizes guys as well, in a good way, not in a weird way.
I'm
or
dating
anything
Jesus.
like that. But he
Let's go.
he painted the sky for you guys too, and
Yeah.
he created a world for our wonder, and to woo us into relationship with him.
It's really cool. All right, here we go. Last question. Okay, good. All right. Oh, it's tough. There's just like a few here that I really want to cover. This is one that like I'm going to ask this because I think this is like a genuine fear that a lot of people, single people, have, and the reason I'm going to ask this is because usually I think when we're single, we have in the back of our mind that we're going to die alone. You know, that's the underlying fear. Like, let's be real. You know, forever alone. You know, like we have that that constant like fear of like, what if? Like, what if I don't? Like, what if I just die alone? You know what I mean? And so I guess along those lines, like in the Bible, we mentioned Paul. We all love Jesus, right? Jesus was single. Like, Jesus was single. He set the example. And so some people are called to singleness. And so the question here is, how do I know that I am? How do I know that I'm not? Am I meant to be single forever? How do I work through that?
General rule of thumb: if you don't want to be single for the rest of your life, you're not called to it.
Yeah.
It's kind
That's
of that
great.
simple.
That's great.
Like God put the desires in our heart, right?
Boom.
Like it's that simple.
And people often talk about the gift of singleness, and I think that's true. Like, there is a gift of singleness for some people, that they will be like a gift of singleness on their life. But there also is like singleness itself is a gift, and it's sometimes it's a gift, like a temporary gift, and sometimes it's a forever gift. And like, as Marcus said, those desires on your heart, you'll know whether it's a gift for now or whether it's a gift forever.
Man. Last closing thoughts. Should we do a closing thoughts and then we'll wrap up? Yeah? Closing thoughts?
Also remember that some people are single by choice, some people are single by not choice, and everybody is on a journey. And sometimes it's quite hard, like coming and supporting a person that is walking through the heartache of singleness. And sometimes it's really hard, like what do I do? What do I say? Sometimes the cliche thing to say is the thing not to say, to be like, God is just working on you. Because that can really hurt for a single person, because some single people look at people that are couples and they are behaving very brokenly, and you kind of compare yourself. And just saying like, I understand your struggle. And then just don't be condescending or like, just be there. Condescending, yeah. Just be there for the person. And it is a journey. And the thing is, like, there's one translation in the Bible, when Adam met Eve in the beginning of the Bible. Adam said he was in completion. He was walking with God in person. But he still said, at last. So that longing, it's okay.
My closing thought is just about that point that Jared put first, of that singleness is not loneliness, but for some of us that is something that we really are struggling with and we are feeling right now. And I just want to, after this, I just really want to pray for those people that are feeling that, because I've totally been there. And and there's such a, like, there's a fullness in God, and there's a fullness in friendships, and there's a fullness in community that is for you right now in the season that you're in.
That's good. Seek first the kingdom of God, and these things will be added to you. And his righteousness. And surrender.
It's such a good thing in my head going. I was like, yes, I'm going to say that. I can't remember what I was going to say. I think there's a thing of and the singleness areas, are you stewarding it well? Are you looking? Are you actually actively looking? And are you growing? Are you doing one or the other? Are you like checking yourself, growing yourself? Normally that kind of comes in. I feel like relationships happen out of that anyway. But you might be single for a reason. You might be, what do you call it? Are you talking to people? That's the thing. It's as small as that. Are you actually talking to other people? Are you talking to people that you're interested in? Are you stewarding it? Or are you just saying, God, I'm single, and you don't talk to anyone? It's like, okay, well, you're single for a reason. But just talk to people. I think it's a few things that a few conversations I've had. I'm like, why don't you just talk to other people? Like, you'll find that, like, you know. So that's, as simple as that is, it's also the most common thing I've heard.
Well, I would say enjoy the season to get to know yourself better.
Yeah.
And get a stronger relationship with God and let the Holy Spirit guide you. I know that there are struggles and sometimes, we feel lonely, but there's so much fun to live during the season, and it's a time that you can really be blessed and bless others. So get to know people, how he said, and if you are struggling, look for help. You know, our pastor today had such amazing message for us. If you need counseling, go for it. And I feel so blessed to be single right now because the right moment for me wasn't a month ago. So I feel more prepared because I know myself better, and my relationship with God is stronger and stronger. And I couldn't be 100% a good wife if I wasn't the way I am now. So it's a beautiful, beautiful journey and a blessing.
Man. Closing remarks, I would probably just say you attract who you are, so let God make you who you're supposed to be in every season. Like, if we just surrender to God, again, it seems to be a theme tonight. It's easier said than done. But if we'll just relinquish those things that we hold on to, like God has promised, talk to any, if it's your genuine desire, like I want to end up with someone, then talk to any married person in this room and they'll tell you, like, this was a God thing. Like, the wind of the Holy Spirit was on this relationship, and it was God who initiated this, and it's going to be God who sustains this, you know? So just give it to God. Can we just one time give it up for our amazing panel tonight? So cool. And what we're going to do now is just going to take a quick moment. We've been talking about singleness tonight, but we realize that, you know, there's some people here that actually don't know Jesus. We've been talking about a relationship with Jesus, and that is numero uno. Like, if we don't have that one right, all of our other relationships aren't really going to come together the way they should. And so maybe if we could just close our eyes and bow our heads in this moment. And we're doing a panel altar call. Praise Jesus. We're just going to give you an opportunity to respond to Jesus tonight. We've been talking about singleness over the last few weeks. We've been talking about relationships and how really our relationships determine the direction and quality of our life. That's bottom line. And tonight we just want to invite you into a relationship with Jesus. And so if you're here tonight and you're saying, man, I just don't feel like I have a good connection with God. If that's you, I just want you to chuck your hand up. I'll see it, and we're going to pray a quick prayer together. So I'm going to count down from 3. And if you want to come back to Jesus tonight, you want to commit your life to him, I'll see that hand, and we're going to pray a prayer. So 3, 2, 1. If that's you, just throw your hand up. Awesome, I see that hand. That's incredible. Anyone else across this room? One brave person. Anyone else in this room tonight? Saying, I'm getting right with God tonight. I'm getting right with my Creator. A few more seconds. Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, let's pray this prayer together, church. Say, dear Jesus, I'm sorry for going my own way and sinning against you. I receive your forgiveness. And tonight, I'm coming back to you. Come into my life. Be my Savior. Be the leader of my life. From this day forward, I choose to follow you. In Jesus' name, amen. Come on, why don't we lift up a big shout of praise. So cool. Well, we're going to wrap this thing up, and it is 7:17. And I'm going to hand back to Sam in a moment, but we just want to invite you. We're going to stay in this moment here. If you want to chill and have a good time and socialize and maybe meet some people out in the foyer, we've got some amazing food. But this is a safe space, so we want to invite you to come and get some prayer if you want to. We want to pray for you guys. If that's what you want, we want to minister to you. And man, again, who's enjoyed this panel tonight? Yeah. So cool. Sam?
Wow. Man, what a great night. Just the depth of revelation and the wisdom right here. Man, these guys are incredible. And I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability tonight. Thank you for sharing. There's some incredible nuggets in there. Man, like Laura, you're incredible, man. Marcus, Johnny, Caroline, Johanna, Jared. Thank you, bro. But just the season these guys have walked through to get to where they are now. Like, this stuff is gold, man. You can't find this anywhere else. And so that's our night. Thank you so much for coming along to Harmony Nights. It's been such an incredible time together. And we're going to break now. We invite you to come along next week. We're going to be talking on friendship. So that's going to be a real fun time. Otherwise, go out, enjoy some sweet and sour pork. Man, Whitey's up the back celebrating. Look at him go. But yeah, it's so great. Ministry time up here. A few things coming up this week. Just really quickly, we have a business breakfast on Thursday. Come to me if you want any more details. And cultural food fiesta happening. It's going to be so good, man. Food again, man. Anyway, bless you guys and have a great week.